Hey everybody, welcome back, and today we're going to take a look at something that's pretty, well, he's pretty awful. Stick around and we're going to look at everything to do with the Transformers Prime Cyberverse Bludgeon in the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Check me out everywhere. Have a look at Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor. Spend some time going through the playlist, see what tickles your fancy. And have a look at Universal Collision, that is up and going. New episodes for that, as of now, are being uploaded every 2 weeks. And this is... not a good figure. I don't like this figure from the Transformers Prime line. Let me explain something. A few years ago when I got back into collecting, I wanted certain representations of certain characters, and I thought about Bludgeon, and my only real connection that I have to him isn't even the Pretender toy. I vividly recall him being on the cover of a comic book as a kid, and I'm sure that his colors were more like a orange and magenta. He was colored weird, but we all know that the comic books did that just a little bit. Of course, his popularized colors have become this motif, and his paint is great. Honestly, for the size that it is, having the little bit of detailing on the chest, his face painted in the way that it is, I think the paint's great. I'm going to give the paint a 10. It's Bludgeon. There's no doubt in my mind that it's Bludgeon. Even the little paint that's up here on his shoulder. So I like that. I dig it. This is a mold that was used for Shockwave, and I'll talk about him another time. But when I saw it, I said, you know, I'm not super connected to him. He wasn't really in any of the shows, yet he's sort of got a bit of a, fan following. I think that a Cyberverse figure would be good enough. No, it's not. It's really not. It's not. How big is this? It's basically a Legends. Here he is next to the Titans Return Rewind, and there's no way that you're going to convince me that Rewind and Bludgeon should be the same size. They shouldn't. So taking him back out of it, he has a huge gun arm, just as Shockwave does. It matches Shockwave. I don't think it particularly matches Bludgeon very well. He comes with this sword. Now there's a little hole on the, we'll call it the tire, the tread, where, let's see if I can show this. Let's just stand this terrible little toy up. On his sword, maybe I'll take him out of it. See if we can focus here on the sword a little bit. On his sword, there is, of course, a handle that he can hold in his hand, and there's another little tab right there that can go into that tire. And the sculpting on the sword is pretty good. I kind of dig it. I even dig the red that was used. I think it looks all right, to be honest with you. So we're going to take that, and I should point out that, see if I can figure this out now before I bring it in. If you don't want it in his hand, you can put it on the back of his arm. The back of this arm is hollow. Well, the back of this arm is pretty hollow, and you can just sort of stick his sword in there if you are inclined. It works for storage. It's all right. I really do find this huge arm obtrusive and sort of absurdly large. It's obnoxious, that's what it is, it's obnoxious. So the paint apps are 10. Posability, playability. In his tank mode, he's pretty horrible, and doesn't really stay together very well in my personal estimation. Getting him there is a bit of a pain, we'll talk about that too. In this mode, I don't know if the head moves left or right, I don't think so. I'm going to say no. Mine doesn't. I don't know if it's because it's just molded so that it doesn't, or if it's because of the paint. I'm going to say no. The arm can go, all the way around 360. it goes out to the side that far, 90-degree elbow bend. We have a swivel. This pad on his shoulder can even go back. The other arm, well, again, elbow at 90 degrees. It can also swivel all the way around. It has a swivel in and out. It's functional. He has no waist. No waist on this little guy. No big shock. For his legs, they go all the way forward that far. I mean, the guy can sit down. They go all the way back, which is good. Getting this out of the way. They go all the way out to the sides, which is good. There is, take that sword out of it. There is a thigh swivel. Actually, I guess it's an above the knee swivel, but it works as a thigh swivel. And he has a 90-degree knee, and his feet can tilt forward and back. Truth is, the articulation in robot mode is top-notch, especially for the size class that we're talking about. The articulation in this mode really is what saves him, because the tank mode, I think, is just a mess. As such, I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to take the 6 at best that the tank mode is. I'm going to take the 10 that the articulation in this mode would be for the size class that we're talking about. And we're going to say he's an 8. So far, he is scoring well. He is, an 8 for that articulation and playability. He is a 10 for his paint up. So let's get into the transformation. And that's where this little mold, as far as I'm concerned, fails pretty miserably. And I'll explain why as we go. Well, we'll start very easily, as we always do. Here on the back, we flip up his treads. Because these are independent, they can look like this, which is awful. This is one time where I kind of wish that they were on the same axis, or axes. Getting that out of the way. So we got those up, and of course this is going to end up being the back of him. We bring down his toes. Now this is where the guy gets tricky and difficult for a lot of people. Let's go to the front next. It's probably the easiest way to handle this. Now that we got that done, we can pull down the chest. In fact, don't just pull it down, but there's a black hinge in here. Pull it all the way out and down. That makes enough sense, I think. We come to his chest here where this gray piece is. And we come to his chest where this gray piece is. And we open them up. Open that one up. You might have to get the shoulders here out of the way. And come over here and open that one up. So now his entire chest is sort of exploded, if you will. The head flips down really into the chest. And now we need to deal with his 2 arms. This arm over here, his arm, comes down behind him on the bottom of the tank. The tab is here on his arm, and it goes into a little slot down here kind of on his lower pelvis, we'll say. We'll call that his lower pelvis. So you kind of bend the arm up, and you try and peg that in there. Like that. Now you can straighten out these back treads. And we have his big arm left to go at the moment. But I'm not going to deal with that yet, because once I deal with that, it's going to be in the way. And I'm going to show you kind of how to do these legs, because that's where he fails. The legs need to be turned like that and turned like that. So you kind of see the hollow bit in on the thigh. Then you need to swivel the knee up and turn it forward. Swivel the knee up and turn it forward. You'll have to adjust these, there's no doubt. But that's kind of how the legs are going to look. This whole orange piece, we bring it down the front of his body, and we adjust those legs a little bit, like that. Again, they're still going to have to go adjusted, I promise you. Now we come to this other large arm. This thing needs to come up over. So this gray chest piece needs to stay out of the way so that we can bring the entire arm up over. It presses down in the back here, and we bring the arm sort of up in the slot on the shoulder, and it looks like this. There's a little orange tab down right here, and it goes into a little slot down here. Right? The little slot is right here. That's what the orange tab goes in. Oh, the little slot is right here. That's what the orange tab goes in. Can you even see that, or is this still in the way? There we go. Like, that's obnoxious. And in the end, adjusting these legs again, in the end, boom, there you go. Bludgeon in his oh, I'm sorry, I did forget one thing. These gray chest pieces, they close back up and over. And here's Bludgeon in his tank mode. He rolls well, but the legs never really tab in anywhere. So even now in this mode, I mean, I could take this and move it down like that. To me, that's awful. I've never been able to discover anywhere where they tab in, and maybe I'm transforming him wrong. Certainly possible. He rolls well, he looks terrible. Getting this arm positioned in behind here and then positioning the arm up into the little cavity on the shoulder is not the easiest thing. I'm going to give you the once around with this guy. So if you're struggling with him, you can see exactly how the different areas should look. Here's how the back should look. Just like that. Here's how this side should look. Ooh. Here's how the front should basically look. And here's how the other side should basically look. And you might say, wait, didn't he have a red sword? He sure did, and here's the weapon storage for it. Remember how I said there are little circular notches back here on these back treads, or back tires, if you will? Well, we take it and we really try and jam it in one of those, and we leave it there, like that. He's not solid in, I'm doing this and he's not falling apart, but I don't like how these legs don't peg in. I'm going to give his transformation a 4. It's nothing great. I don't really like the mold. I don't find it fun. I find it frustrating because you're always having to adjust stuff. So he went from now being an 8 down to a figure that is at best a 6. This is not a great Bludgeon. If you are into collecting the like Legends class size figures, we'll say, then he's probably, at least for now, the best Bludgeon representation that's going in. In his robot mode, he's pretty great, as long as you can see past the huge cannon arm that he's not really supposed to have. Barring that, he's okay. Display him in that mode, don't really change him to this, because this is not good. If you're just looking for a representation of Bludgeon, period, skip this. It's not great. Either go back in time and get one of the earlier molds, or hey, you could always hold out and wait for the deluxe class, or sorry, warrior class, new RID one that is up and coming as of this recording. I think we've seen it as Blast Wave, the Autobot Blast Wave. I think that's the name they're using. Obviously, it's going to end up being this guy. And I think that is an infinitely, without even having it in hand, I think that is an infinitely better figure than this. Overall score, at best, 6. With him, I got the buyer's remorse. Anyway, folks, thanks for giving me some of your time. You know that I appreciate it. And as always, I look forward to the next time that you and I get together for another visit right here inside the videos.